Good afternoon and happy Monday. I hope everybody's having a good Monday. It's been Good afternoon and happy Monday. Whoops, sorry, had an echo. Think I got it fixed. It's been a little manic for me today. We had to take my puppy in for his last puppy shots. And we just got him settled and he's just now laying in his bed sleeping. So I just want to make sure he's going to be okay here. So I'm definitely going to do a little bit of reviewing here today. And what I'm going to be reviewing, I'm going to be respectful about it. I've done some research on it. And I'm going to have an open panel. And I have put my link on the top of the chat. If you want to come up and join me on panel while we discuss this, you're more than welcome to. However, these are only my views, my opinions, and my research. And if anyone else joins me on panel, it is their own personal views and their own opinions. So if you're going to come up and state something, you're more than welcome. I ask you to be respectful, and I ask you to always state that this is in your opinion. You're more than glad to come up and join me. I'm going to keep my camera off here for a few more minutes, make sure puppy's good and settled. He had 3 shots today. He had his final puppy shots, and then he had his rabies shots. And he is now a whole 6.2 pounds. He was about a little over 5 pounds, just barely made 5 pounds the last vet check. So he's doing wonderful. He's so amazing, so smart. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and bring my camera on. Hello, hello. I hope that's not too bright. And yes, I'm having my coffee, so if you need to, go get you a coffee, join me for some coffee. And I'm having a cigarette this morning. I can't go out because I don't want to wake up the puppy. So, we're definitely going to talk about psychics, if they are used by law enforcement in missing persons cases. When they are used, how does that come about? Do they approach law enforcement? Does law enforcement approach them? And then I'm going to bring up some of the research that I've been doing, because as an investigator, you should always do your research. I don't have any makeup on this morning. I'm just plain Jane old me. Like I said, we got up this morning. We got a few things done, and then we had to go to the vet, and we just come home from the veterinarian and got puppy his lunch, and he's now resting. So I'm sure he needs to rest. He's just turned 6 months old, December 1st. And today I'm going to bring up a few things that I've looked up. And I have been discussing what do I think about the different methods that's being used. In my last live, I discussed, excuse me, my nose is itching. I discussed the dowsing rods and how these people are using the dowsing rods. So today, what I'm going to discuss is psychics Do they actually work with law enforcement? What is their percentage of accuracy in locating a missing person? And so I'm going to go ahead and bring up some research on that. I'm going to wait a few minutes and see if anyone comes in, wants to join me in this conversation. And it's very interesting. A lot of the research that I was doing, it's got, from what I'm saying, not all psychics have been discredited. There is actually psychics that do have gifts, and they are working with law enforcement, according to the research I've done. And they have actually helped to locate missing persons. And then I did more research to see what is exact accuracy. If you are involving a psychic, or a psychic, most of them involve themselves in a missing persons case. And I want to know, what do you think? Do you think that psychics should be involving themselves in active missing person cases? Or do you feel that they are, by interjecting themselves, that they are actually interfering in a active missing persons case? So that's what I want to talk to you about. And I want to get your interaction, see what you think. So you're more than welcome to comment. Please be respectful if you do comment. Whenever you work in the field that I'm working in, the paranormal, you will come across, undoubtedly, psychics. And do I think 100% that psychics are fake, that they're all fake? No, I'm not saying that. I do believe, and like I said, I have researched and vetted psychics that have actually used a gift, and they have used it for good. They've used it to help find missing persons. They've used it for working to help solve a cold case. And before they're brought in on anything like that, I mean, law enforcement is going to vet them. They're going to look at their credentials. They're going to see what cases have they worked, and were they helpful? Did they, when they did work other cases, was the results good, or were they misleading? And so basically, that's what I'm wanting to pinpoint today. I'm not here to, at this point, be cruel or be mean, because I'm not cruel or mean. I am very blunt. I'm very honest, and I will give you my personal opinion. And if it hurts your feelings, then I'm sorry. But I'm not here to make things look okay if I feel personally that they're not okay due to the research that I've done. And anytime that you go to talk about a subject, you should really research it. And the research that I have done, like I said, I have done some research, and the research did not personally surprise me. because I do believe that there are psychics with gifts that they can use for good to help law enforcement whenever they cannot locate to find a missing person. And many times they're brought in by law enforcement. And normally it would be a special division of law enforcement that would be working with psychics on cold cases or missing person cases. So it would be one division that would work with them, one sector of the department, not the whole entire department. They would have to be fully vetted. They would have to have credentials. Show me your credentials. What cases have you done? And they would do their investigation prior to bringing this person in on the case. Because in my opinion, my personal opinion, I do not feel that law enforcement is going to bring in anyone, to a case that they have not properly vetted. And that's what basically I'm focusing on today. So the first thing I'm going to bring up, this is oops, hold on. Here's one of the things that I brought up. Okay. Bold title. The use of psychics in homicide and missing persons investigation. William S. Smithy. Now, the reason I really like this one is it's very informative. It has, as I go down through this, right now I can't see if you're commenting because I'm sharing. But as you go down through this, it gives you a lot of information. Oops. Well, let me get this. Okay, now I can see the screen if you're making comments. Now, I'm going to bring this up. All right, I'm about to bring it up large enough that I can see it. Whoops. Let's see if I can bring it up a little bit more. That's about as big as I can get it there. So, I'm going to try and read this on my phone if I can. It ain't going to work that way. We're just going to have to just do it this way. It's saying it's 100%. Oops. All right. We'll start here with the abstract. This article discusses the use and success of psychic detectives in high-profile homicide and missing person investigations. A review of relevant literature compares to the difference between popular. This is so hard for me to read. Trying to get a little bit closer. I hope it's not too loud. Portrayals of psychics in the mainstream media with academic research into the phenomenon published in the peer-reviewed academic journals. A study was conducted to ascertain the frequency of use and success rate of psychic detectives, and the results are reviewed within. In addition, this article contains a discussion of various policies and recommendations regarding the use of psychic detectives in high-profile investigations. Okay, now maybe this is explaining where I'm coming from. Is it a good thing to use them? How accurate are they? And I'm going to try and read this. I've got it now on my big television. Hopefully I can read it across the room. Okay, psychics have long been used by kings, military, chieftains, and religious leaders to foretell the outcome of approaching events, but their use of criminal investigative purposes was non-existent, or at least undocumented until 1845. The specifics of that first case has been lost to history, but the use of the paranormal to solve criminal cases has gained increasing popularity with the general public over the past few decades due largely to popularity of such television shows as The X-Files, Fringe, and Medium. These shows frequently portray the utilization of psychic detectives, that's in quotes, by law enforcement entities to solve crimes, usually a high-profile homicide or missing persons investigation. Despite these entertaining portrayals, like I said, I'm trying to read across here and it's very tiny. You have to be patient with me. The use of psychic detectives is not as prevalent as the popular media suggests, nor is the effectiveness as high as the populace is led to believe. Okay, now this is where I also have to ask the question, are they used according to this? Yes, possibly. I'll try and go in and out so I can see this and see everything back and forth. I can turn this away maybe and read it on the large screen TV in the living room. I'm sharing with it. Hopefully that would work. But this way I can see if someone does come in and wants to enter the chat. Let's see. Well, why is it not letting me get down? Well, that's really weird. Let me try adding it again. screen. There we go. It froze up. Okay. Now, reviews of relevant literature. A review of literature concerning the use of psychics in criminal investigations reveals an array of opinions that are almost entirely predictable based on the source of of information. A cursory glance at the websites of the country's most famous psychic detectives, such as Noreen Rayner, I hope I'm saying that right, and they have a reference, www.noreenrayner.com, and Nancy Meyer at www.nancymeyer-psychicdetective.com, suggests that psychic detectives are utilized by law enforcement agency on a routine basis. In parentheses, both of the aforementioned psychics claim to have assisted with over 600 homicide investigations. Into the parenthesis, with some claiming a success rate as high as 90%. These websites expressively tout the ineffectiveness of psychic detectives, routinely quoting clients and law enforcement personnel as a means to add validity to their success stories. A November 2005 article in the popular periodical Good Housekeeping is an excellent example of a portrayal of psychic detectives in mainstream media. The article gives a brief introduction to Alison Dubus, in parentheses, inspired by the television show Medium, Kathleen Ray, and Noreen Reiner, all psychics who utilize their ability to assist law enforcement agencies with high-profile investigations. The article specifically mentions, I think her name is Ria, involvement, I hope I'm saying that right, probably not, in the 1983 abduction and murder, of Polly Glass, as well as Du Bois's assistance in the disappearance of Elizabeth Smart. Okay. I want to stop sharing that for just a second. Okay. These are two pretty well-known cases. And now let me see if I can bring it back up. These are two pretty well-known cases, very, very popular. The Elizabeth Smart case, a lot of people have heard about that one. I'm going to have to remove this again. For some reason, it keeps locking up on me. What was I at? Hold on. Okay, it was the polyglass and as well as Elizabeth Smart. And if we remember, now, like I said, I can't really see your chat right now. So if you're chatting, I will have to catch up to that here in a minute because I'm doing a screen share. After a brief introduction of each psychic and a quick discussion of their methods, the article then cites two examples of Rhea's success. In 1989, Rhea assisted a local police department with the unaliving of Rachel Lumbria, a female found bludgeoned and to unalive in her California apartment. The article states from Rhea's vision, police created a sketch that looks exactly like Lumbria's married lover, who was arrested and later convicted. And this has quotations. This is a quote. It's an article that is quoting that about her vision. And then in parentheses, it gives you Braden, 2005, page 123. This is what I like because you can look it up. And when you're looking it up, you've got references. If you're going to go in and review something, you want to be as accurate as possible. You want to use facts. So I don't want to come on here and criticize and not be able to bring forth facts. So this is showing you that where I'm getting my research. Who am I getting this through? Where am I finding my information at? Okay, let me see if we can screen share again. Get this back up on the screen. That way you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Now, right here is where I was just reading because I didn't realize it was not sharing the screen. I'm going to have to keep watching back and forth because I'm new at all this. But this is where it's quoting this right here. The article states, and this is a quote from Rhea's vision, police created a sketch that looked exactly like Lumbria's married lover, who was arrested and later convicted, unquote. And then here's your reference. Braden, 205, page 123. So then you come on down. The article then goes on to cite Rhea's success in the disappearance of 10-year-old Victoria Sanantago in 1979. Rhea informed police that she had a vision of feathers and a windmill. These clues presumably led police to recover Santago's body in a field nearby a chicken ranch. Quoting a former police detective who worked on the case, it states, quotes, in quotes, K is the real deal. And here again, in parentheses, here's where you can find this. Brandon, 2005, page 123. Now, I'm going to go back up to the top. And again, this is in bold letters if you want to go follow along with me because I'm having problems here trying to see. I can't get it any larger. It's the use of psychics in homicides and missing persons investigations. And it's by William J. Smithy. Okay, now we were down here. After giving examples of a few more success stories, the article briefly turns to more skeptical, less prodigious perspectives. Former FBI profiler Clint Van Zandted, Zadit, I can't even say it, don't it? Zandit states, quotes, "In my 25 years as an FBI agent, I never saw a psychic provide anything but information so general it was useless in the case," unquote. And here you can find in parentheses, Brandon 2005, page 123. A quote that is taken from Michael Shermer, PhD, director of Skeptic Society, in quotes, "They're just playing the law of numbers. If you make enough statements about enough crimes, inevitably you're going to get something right," unquote. Brandon 2005, page 123. Okay, I'm going to come out of this for a minute. So I can get back to now I can see comments if you want to comment. Now this is where I'm coming up with all of my information. Do I believe that all psychics are fake? No, I don't. Do I believe that there is a very small percentage of people who do have a real gift, that they can use their psychic abilities, they use them for good, and that once they have been tested, vetted, and their credentials have been completely checked, law enforcement is the one that reaches out to them. So what is the percentage exactly? In my opinion only, I believe the percentage is very low, that these people are really, that they really have a gift, that they really use the gift, and that they have been vetted, that they have all of this information. If they have worked a case, any case, they have documentation where you can go back and you have the proof. If I don't see proof, then how can I believe it? I need to have complete proof. If I'm going to use a psychic, even in my field of work, even in the paranormal, I'm not just going to have someone say, well, I'm a psychic or I'm a medium, or, no, I need to know. What have you done? I need to see your work. I need to see, I need to see everything logged. I need it all. If I'm going to vet you, I want to vet you 100%. And I want you to prove to me with your documentation that you have actually done what you said you have done. Okay, and again, we'll go back to the page. And when I'm sharing the page, I can't see the comments, so I'm going to have to bring it back up like this again in order to get it where I can actually read it. It's so small. Okay, now to go further. While this is only one article in a sea of mainstream media, It is a good representation of the coverage given to psychic detectives in the popular press. It seems all articles in pop culture magazines concerning psychic detectives follow a similar pattern. An introduction to a psychic or psychics, a few success stories, a quote from a law enforcement official or private detective validating the psychic success, and a brief statement in an unconvinced skeptic, a brief statement by an unconvinced skeptic. Based on these articles, it would appear psychic detectives are routinely sought out by law enforcement agencies to assist them with missing persons and homicides in homicide investigations when all traditional avenues of inquiry have failed. These same articles also lead one to believe the success rate of these psychic detectives is extremely high. However, the information published by independent study groups and previewed academic journals paint a completely different picture. Over the past 60 or 70 years, a fair amount of scientific research into the phenomenon of extrasensory perception, or ESP, has been conducted, and the results have almost unanimously shown psychics perform no better than chance under controlled test conditions, nor do they perform any better than the non-psychic test subjects to which they are often compared. Unfortunately, there is very little academic research tying the psychic phenomenon into criminal investigations and providing the legitimate measure of success and proclaimed psychic investigators. Through the field of study, it is quite narrow. The search that has been conducted testing psychics in the investigative arena has met with the same results as scientific testing in the study as ESP itself, and the results have been everything but extraordinary. Okay, let me come back. Since I'm sharing, I'll have to keep going back and forth so I can actually see the screen, see if someone wants to put in a comment. And like I said, I did post my StreamYard link at the very top of the chat. If you want to join the panel, you can come up and help me talk about it. But from what I'm seeing here, have psychics ever been used? Yes, they have. Has one psychic, according to what I have read so far, been accurate? She was completely accurate in two different cases. And she did lead them exactly where they needed to be led to find the missing person. So that person was very accurate. Now, does that mean that particular person is going to be 100% accurate? In my opinion, no. I don't think anyone is ever 100%. Does that mean that she has a gift and that she has been tested and vetted and that she has worked side by side with law enforcement who brought her into the case? She did not insert herself into the case. They have approached her, maybe by means of somebody reaching out to law enforcement, maybe by them suggesting that they use this particular person. But from what I'm seeing here, she has been used and she was accurate. So this goes along with what I said before. I'm not saying that all psychics are fake. I'm not here to say that it's a phenomenon that science has studied. That's what I'm going to say. If you have a scientific study, and that's in the paranormal, the only way I can call it something paranormal is if it is beyond all scientific test. If it's been tested with everything I can use scientifically, with the equipment that I have and the research that I have done, then it has to be something beyond science. And I do believe that there are people that do have this particular gift. And I think it's a very wonderful gift. And this gift, if this gift is used for good. Now this, I'm going to go back into some more of this. This is going to be lengthy, so I might have to do part 1 and then part 2. So I'm going to try and speed it up a little bit. I have to do it like this each time just to make it large enough for me to see. And then, like I said, I can't really see your comments, so I'll have to come back and catch up with them. Research into the use of psychics by law enforcement entities began in 1979 when in Los Angeles Police Department LAPD began to investigate the phenomenon. The research was conducted by Dr. Martin Razier of the LAPD, along with Dr. Susan Sachs and Claire Wagner, both of LAPD as well, and Dr. Lewis Ludwig, a psychology professor at Los Angeles City College. Their initial research served as the impetus for the study of the effectiveness of psychic detectives, and all subsequent research seemed to be based on the foundation laid in their findings, published as Evaluation of the Use of Psychic in an Investigation of Major Crimes in a Journal of the Police Science and Administration in 1979. The study began by choosing, now here's where we go. You've got to have studies done. You've got to have research done. Just because someone has a camera and goes on a YouTube app and says they're a psychic doesn't mean that they can prove they're a psychic. Have they been proven? Have they been vetted? Have they been tested? This is the only way that I'm going to believe that a psychic is a psychic. And yes, I do believe that there are people that do have these gifts. Oh, I can watch your comments because I got my phone. I'll just watch on the phone. The study began by choosing 12 psychics in Los Angeles area, 8 of whom were professional psychics who earned part or all of their income by means of psychic readings. 4 were listed as non-professional psychics. 4 crimes, 2 solved and 2 unsolved, were then chosen. Now, mind you, this is the test they're doing. They are taking 4 crimes, 2 solved, 2 unsolved, were chosen by the investigator not involved in the study taking place in order to prevent the researchers from influencing the test subjects in any way. Razor, Ludwig, Sachs, and Wagner, 1979. Please go do your own research. Look this up. It's very interesting. The physical evidence from each crime was then placed in sealed numbered envelopes. The psychics were then given the envelopes and asked to elicit any information possible from the sealed envelope. They were then asked to open the envelope, examine the physical evidence, and provide any additional information. The following is the response provided by one of the test subjects and is indicative of the types of responses received from the other psychics while holding the aforementioned physical evidence. Now they're holding a sealed envelope. They can't see through it. They know there's something in it. And these psychics are given this envelope, this sealed envelope, and they're asked, tell me what you can tell me about this without opening this envelope. What are you sensing? What are you feeling? Tell me what you see. Okay. Now, here's the responses. This is from one, but they got similar from the others. I get a man, black. I hear screaming. I'm running upstairs and down. My head, someone bounces my head on the wall or floor. I see trees, a park in the city, but green. Did this person live there? What does the number 2 mean? I get a bad, bloody taste in my mouth. The name John or Joseph or something like that. And I'm running on the street like a crazy. This is a very serious crime. I can't hold the envelope in my hand. That's the response. Razor, Ludwig, Sachs, and Wagner, 1979, page 19. After all the subjects had been given the opportunity to provide information sensed from the evidentiary objects, their statements were compared against verifiable indicators of each crime. In relation to the crime number 1, number 2, and of the 12 psychics correctly identifying 4 of the 21 possible indicators, while the average of all test subjects was 2 of 21. So you got 4 of 21 indicators, or 2 possible, and these are possible indicators. Out of 21, they got 4 or 2 correct. The findings noted statistically that is not better than chance. Razor, Ludwig, Sachs, Wagner, 1979, page 19. So in other words, these results were not any better than them taking a chance guess. Let me see. The results for the other 3 crimes were not any better. In relation to crime number 2, the psychics averaged 1.8 out of 33 known key indicators, ranging from 0 correct responses to 3. Crime number 3 offered an average of 2.3 correct responses out of 28 known indicators, while crime number 4 produced an average of 2.7 correct responses out of 29 verifiable indicators. All results were consistently no better than chance. No better than chance. Again, Fraser, Ludwig, Sachs, Wagner, 1979. A 1994 study conducted by Richard Wiseman of the University of Hertfordshire and Donaldson West of the University of Cambridge tested the success rate of psychics against 3 university students. The study, an experimental test of psychic detection, was subsequently published in a journal on the Society for Physical Research in 1996. Sorry, I'm kind of dried out. I've been sick. I wasn't feeling good on my last live. I wanted to check on my puppy. I'm sorry. He went to the vet this morning and had his last puppy shots. The paper addresses the claims made by psychics of extremely high success rate. Most of these claims are supported by only here we go. Actinautical? I have no idea. Psychics fare no better than chance in controlled studies and purposes of few studies to further test psychics' ability and their relationship to criminal investigation. Wiseman and West, 1996. Wiseman and West conducted a study utilizing 2 control groups. The first group was composed of professional psychics, one being a high-profile psychic frequently utilized by police department in Hertfordshire area, and the second group was comprised of 3 students recruited from the psychology department at the university at Hertfordshire. The study noted that none of these students claimed to be psychic or had any special interest in criminology. Wiseman and West, 1996, page 37. All 6 participants were then shown 3 objects that had been involved in one of 3 different crimes. All crimes utilized were previously solved so that more verification or verifiable information was available. The participants were allowed to handle each object and vocalize their thoughts and ideas in regard to how the object was related to the criminal event. After handling the object, each patient was presented a list of 18 random ordered statements and asked to choose 6 statements that were true of each crime, but untrue of the other crimes. Once the results were tallied, the 3 professional psychics scored no better than the 3 university students. Wiseman and West noted, quote, "None of the subjects were significant, and the psychics' scores were no different to those of the students. Neither group performed at above chance levels." Again, unquote. There we go. Chance. Wiseman, West, 1996, page 37-38. Here are the results of the study. This is showing your accuracy rate for Psychic 1, Psychic 2, Psychic 3, Student 1, Student 2, and Student 3. This is your number of statements, and this is your score. It was 3.8, which is 0.17 on the psychics, and 5.63, 1.28 on the 3 students. It should be noted, Psychic 1, the psychic detective often utilized by the police in the Hertfordshire area, did not score any better or predict any more adequately than the other test subjects. Okay, let me go back. Okay, now I'm back where I can see comments. So here is what I'm talking about. If they're going to tell you they're a psychic, have they been tested? Have they been proven? Do they have the credentials and all of the documentation that they can show you that they have been tested, proven, vetted? And this cannot be done unless it's done in a controlled environment, a controlled test. If you are going to try to prove that you are a psychic, it should be done in a controlled test situation. But to just come out and say that you're going to put all of your information in on this case because you're a psychic and you have a YouTube channel on an app, free app, and you're making money. This is the way you're making money. Not only are you involving yourself in both active missing persons and cold missing person cases, but also in possibly homicide cases, active and cold cases. Now, if it is a cold case, I can understand that you want to help and put your 2 cents in. I get that. But if it is an active investigation, ongoing active investigation of a missing person or homicide, should a psychic be putting information out on an app that is free that they're using for their income, for monetary gain? They are not showing their credentials. If they're going to first come on and show their credentials, they've been vetted, who vetted them, what all have they done, who all have they found, that would be one thing. But if they have all that information, do you not believe they would not be working with a law enforcement agency or the FBI? I feel that they would be. But if they're just coming out because it's a high-profile case of an active missing person, I don't care if it's a child or a teenager, adult, grandmother, grandfather, grandparent, a member of your family, if they're coming out day after day after day, live after live after live, and putting out video after video after video with false information, false accusations, how is that helping a case, an active case of a missing person? In my opinion, it's not. In my opinion, you are harming this case and you need to stop. If you're involving yourself in an active missing person case and you are not following the facts that law enforcement has put out to the public, then you are not doing anything but causing misinformation, false accusations, distractions. And a lot of times this feeds back into people sending in tips to law enforcement who are then using valuable resources and valuable time to track down false information by a self-claimed psychic. Give me a frickin' break. It's disrespectful. And you see it in every high-profile case because That's their bread and butter. That's their money for the month. That's their clicks, their views, they're monetized. That's their bread and butter. Shame on you. How dare you use a tragedy for your own monetary gain and profit? If anything, you should be ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed of yourself. Now, are there real psychics? Again, I'm going to say, like I've said from the beginning of this, yes, I do believe there are real psychics. Do these real psychics, have they been vetted? Have they given all their credentials? Has law enforcement researched them and then reached out to them to bring them in on a case? Yes, this has happened. Has it been successful? Yes, in some cases it has been successful. But these are people that have been vetted. These are not people that are doing this for money. These are not people who are doing this for clicks and views. These are not people that are doing this even to become famous. Most of them work with law enforcement, and they do it privately. They don't go out and try to make something big of it. Now, they have been mentioned in documentation, in newspapers, and in different articles, if they were brought into an organization and they did help find somebody or they helped solve a case. And I think that's absolutely amazing. It's wonderful. Okay, let me get back to this again. In order for me to bring it up high enough, I have to keep going back and forth. Sorry about that, but we'll get it. Oh, wait, there we go. Now it's letting me make it bigger. Oh, looky there. Nope, it won't let me do it that way. Nope. Okay, let me stop. Let me go back. Okay, there. Maybe you can read that a little better. Before it wouldn't even let me. I don't know if StreamYard's having problems or what's going on. Okay. One area noted by Wiseman and West, as well as many other researchers of the psychic phenomenon in various studies, concerned the number of statements made by the psychics during the course of the study of the university at Hertfordshire. The 3 professional psychics made 39 total statements regarding the objects that were presented in their relationship to the criminal event. Controversially, university students only made 20 such statements. Despite attempts to offer more information, the psychics still did not score higher than their counterparts, which were the students. Wiseman West, 1996. Wiseman and West also noted during post-test interviews that all 3 students believed they performed poorly, while all 3 psychics believed they performed well. When confronted with the results, the psychics began to retrofit their statements to fall in accordance with the facts of the case. Despite the positive outlook, the psychics reported, Despite the positive outlook the psychics purported and their attempt to retrofit their given statements, the authors noted this small-scale study provided no evidence to support the claims of psychic detection, and as such, the results are in accordance with other controlled studies. The study utilized a novel method of evaluating psychic detection and the way in which participants respond to being told the true nature of the crimes gives some insight into some of the mechanisms which might cause individuals to believe erroneously that they are able to solve crimes by psychic means. Wiseman, West, 1996, page 40. This data correlates with the study previously mentioned by the authors, a test conducted in 1982 by Dr. Martin Razier of Los Angeles Police Department. In Razier's 1982 study, a follow-up to his previous mentioned 1979 study published in the Journal for Police Science Administration, these groups of participants were utilized in a test to test psychic abilities in criminal investigations. Psychics, students, and homicide detectives. As in other studies, each participant was given physical evidence from separate crimes in a sealed envelope. The findings noted, in quote, the psychic detectives produced descriptions that were on average 6 times the length of the student's description. A comparison between the 3 groups showed that although the psychics produced the greatest number of predictions, they were not any more accurate than either of the students or the detectives. Wiseman, West, 1996, page 36. Okay. Now here's where I'm talking about. You have to have a controlled study group. Just because someone comes out and proclaims that they are a psychic, that doesn't mean that they are a psychic. Please do your research. And you know what is really sad is in a lot of these cases, the loved ones of the missing person or the unsolved homicide is looking for answers. And they will reach out to psychics. And in my opinion, my personal opinion, it has caused them more harm, more hurt. Because these loved ones are looking for answers. They're desperate. And then someone is using their tragedy for monetary gain, for profit, for money. It's their bread and butter. It's disrespectful. And you see it more and more and more. And as social media has grown, so has this. So has this, unfortunately. People inserting themselves into cases for claiming to be a psychic. And I'm not true crime, but I've been watching. I've been observing a lot of times from the bushes. And most of these people are biased. They have already decided who they think is guilty. And I don't care what kind of reading they're doing, whether it's cards or whether it's dowsing rods or melting wax. I've actually seen melting wax. Are you kidding me? They have already made up their mind, their own mind, And they're biased. They're not following the facts and only the facts. A true psychic would only want the facts. They would only want to know the facts. And then they could take those facts and use their gift to help find answers. And I may lose a few people that has subscribed to me because I'm bringing this stuff up. But something needs to be done. You know, when is enough enough? That was my last live stream. How much more can we do to help bring laws, to have new laws put in place to protect the missing's loved ones, their family? Because the person that goes missing is the victim. And then that person's family becomes the victim and their loved ones become a victim. And then, like I stated in my last live stream, then the community that they live in becomes a victim as well. Because it is so out of control on these YouTube streets. The false accusations, if you want to go do a case, please be respectful. Follow the facts only. Don't add to it. Don't take away from it. If you want to bring awareness to a missing person. And there's not just the high profile cases. There are thousands of missing children, thousands of missing teenagers, thousands of missing elderly, and thousands of unsolved cold cases. In my opinion, one missing person is one missing person too many. And that is one tragedy too many. And one family going through one tragedy too many. And their loved ones going through one tragedy too many. And then eventually the community that they live in going through a tragedy. One tragedy too many. So if you think you have a gift, try and get your credentials. Go be tested. There are people that can test it. But just because you think that you're a psychic does not make you a psychic. Okay, I want to stop on that and we're going to come back to the page. Sorry that I have to keep doing it this way. I don't know if I'm going to get all the way through this. Oh, well, we're getting there. We're getting there. Okay, where was I? The paper addresses claims made by psychics of their extremely high success rates. Most of these claims are supported by only. Oh, wait a minute. Did I already read that? Oh, I already read that. Sorry. Let me go on down. Where was I at? Lost my place. I'm so sorry. Let me find my place. A study conducted at Arkansas State University in 1984 tested whether one's belief in psychic ability has any influence on performance and success rate. Entitled Attitudes Toward the Existence and Scientific Investigation of Extrasensory Perception, the study utilized 261 psychology students attempting to earn extra credit. The students were first given a questionnaire concerning their beliefs in supernatural phenomenon and subsequently assigned to one of 4 independent groups. Subjects were then given a clairvoyance test using 2 decks of 25 ESP cards containing 5 different geometric symbols. Johnson and Jones, 1984. The ESP cards were randomly ordered, wrapped in aluminum foil, and sealed in white envelopes to prevent identification by ordinary means. Each envelope was held up to 15 seconds, and the test subjects were asked to make the predictions of the geometric symbol contained within the sealed envelope. The study found the number of hits obtained by the SS subjects as a whole group and by the SS in each group, the 4 groups into which they were divided. It's not significantly different from chance, Johnson and Johnson. In reviewing literature relevant to the use of psychics and by law enforcement agency, one topic of discussion is universally and curiously absent: an accurate accounting of resources utilized by law enforcement to follow up on information provided by psychic detectives does not seem to be available. It does not appear any law enforcement agency has ever tracked the amount of money spent, time and resources invested, and or manpower hours utilized in response to information provided by a psychic. If an agency has tracked such data, the information has remained within the agency and has not been published for public view. Another item to note is that information provided by psychics is inadmissible in court. Therefore, no case law is available on the subject. In April and May of 2012, research was conducted to further evaluate the use and effectiveness of psychics in homicide and or missing person investigations. A survey was created utilizing the website www.surveymoney.com, inquiring about the solicitation and use of psychics by law enforcement agencies throughout the nation. The survey was sent via email to all graduates of the Federal Bureau of Investigation's National Academy, all of whom are senior executives in various law enforcement agencies throughout the United States and other parts of the world. Each graduate was asked to forward the survey to his or her respective homicide, mayor, crimes unit for completion. The survey was also sent via email to all members of the Homicide Research Working Group, HRWC, and the FBI Behavioral Science Unit. The HRWC, an interdisciplinary and international organization comprised of law enforcement practitioners and academic researchers committed to improving the means collection and analyze of homicide data in order to reduce levels of mortality from violence, which is www. Here we go. www. // homicide working group .cos.ucf.index.php. The FBI's behavioral science unit is comprised of supervisory special agents and veteran police officers with advanced degrees in behavioral science, disciplines in psychology, criminology, sociology, and conflict resolution at www.fbi.gov/about-us-us or about us /training/BSU, along with teaching various subjects at the FBI Academy. Behavioral Science Unit, a unit often featured in movies and television shows for the practice of profiling, regularly conducted researches into the development and new and innovative investigation techniques. At the conclusion of the survey, follow-up in-person interviews were conducted with experienced homicide investigators in the Central Florida area. Interviewees proposed decades of experience in the investigative field and have worked numerous high-profile investigations throughout their career. During the course of these investigations, interviewees have had the opportunity to utilize and/or follow up on information provided by these psychic detectives. Okay, so as you can see, I do believe that all law enforcement agencies, even as high up as the FBI, are interested in different methods that can be used. And I do know that they do have the behavioral science division. And some of their experimental things that they've done has been amazing to try and help them to solve a case. And in order for them to do that, it must be tested and proved, or it's going to be tested and it's going to fail. But they are willing to reach out and to try other methods. And I do believe that's why they have worked occasionally with psychics that have been vetted, that have been tested, that have worked with law enforcement agencies that have called them in to help them and to assist them. Not someone that is interjecting themselves into an open case or an open investigation. So, in my opinion only, I do believe that if you are a psychic and you do feel that you have these gifts, go get tested, prove yourself, get your credentials together, and then if you want to work to help law enforcement, I wish you all the luck in the world, because I do, like I said, I'm not saying that all psychics are fake. And yes, I do believe that there are real psychics. And yes, I do believe that they do work with law enforcement. Keep checking on my puppy. Okay, we'll go back here to, hopefully this will be about the end of it. But I'm just trying to look at all angles. You know, I'm not just trying to. Okay, I'm going to stop right here. And we'll make this part 1. Because this is got 15 pages. It's a lot of reading. It's a lot of information and a lot of research. So I think I'm going to stop here and break this down into a few different live streams. So if anyone wants to comment, please do. You know, share your opinions, but please be respectful. And like I said, I'm not here to be mean, to be cruel, but and something has to be done. You know, enough is enough. These families that have missing, they deserve respect. They have rights. The victim that's missing has rights. Their family has rights. And they deserve respect. So I want to make this part 1. I'll go back and change my my title and put part 1. And again, this, you can go back to the beginning and you can see who I'm referring, what references I'm using. And I like this because it's using a lot of it. You got a lot of information. And I am a paranormal investigator, which means I do my investigating. I do my research. And I think each and every one of you should do your research. And I do hope and I pray that soon, and very soon, for the sake of all the victims and their loved ones, that there is new laws made for social media to protect the victim, to protect the family, their loved ones, and even their communities. And hopefully these social media platforms will have to change so that people will not be coming on their platforms with misinformation, false accusations. I mean, it's okay to follow a missing persons case if it's done respectful, if you follow the facts. And that's what I'm asking today on this part 1. And then we'll go into part 2 maybe tomorrow. This is probably going to be at least an hour and a half each video because I don't want to set too long. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that that my research has helped a little bit. But do your own research. There's so much out there that you can find that if you want to, with me, I wanted to know, because I find it very offensive. I find it very disrespectful what's being done with all the psychics using the tarot cards and using dowsing rods, melting wax. I'm waiting for the Ouija boards, like I said on my live. Why not use the Ouija board? Throw your dice or get an 8-ball. Roll it over and see what it says. Might be just about as accurate. So please follow the facts. Remember, this is a real live missing person. that went missing. It's a real family going through a tragedy. It's their loved ones going through a tragedy. Be kind, be respectful, be honest, and follow facts. And until next time, thank you for joining me. And I will talk to you tomorrow, maybe. We'll see how our week goes. We have the new puppy, and he just had 3 shots today, so we'll see how things go. But I'll try to follow up with part 2. We'll try and get through the rest of this document. And you can pull it up and read it for yourself. And do your own research. Send in light, send in love. And until next time, enjoy your Monday. And bye-bye.